Thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I am your host, Julian, and today I will be reviewing Macallan, another one of the great big names in Scotch. Macallan is got a very high quality name, a very good reputation. Of course, that works both for and against it. Why is Macallan considered such a good Scotch? Few reasons. They are known to have the smallest cut in the industry. That is, the amount of the second distillation that actually goes into the barrel. A really high quality company tends to take only about a third of that distillation. The first third and second third are thrown away. Macallan takes only a sixth, so half of what is considered already high quality. How much does that matter? Well, some. Everything you do matters somewhat. Also, Macallan is made entirely, or is aged entirely, I should say, in sherry casks. Sherry casks being a good bit more expensive, 10 times more expensive, in fact, than bourbon casks. And that gives it a very different flavor than any kind of Scotch that's made without sherry casks. If you have looked at my Scotch flavor map, you know Macallan has a rather unique flavor profile in that it is 100% made with sherry casks and uses absolutely no peat smoke. There are plenty of other Scotches that are made with sherry, but most Scotches have at least a little bit of peat in them. Aberlour and Balvenie and other Scotches that use sherry, Highland Park, all have peat in them as well. So Macallan is just kind of stands alone. And it's also, if you go to bars, many places in the United States, they'll usually have, you know, Glenlivet, maybe Glenfiddich, probably an Islay, and usually Macallan, if they do have it, will be the only sherried Scotch they have, and as a result, it's probably the only sherried Scotch that many people have tried. And so people try a Macallan, it tastes different from anything they've had, they love it or they hate it. One of the things I mean to point out here is that it may not be the spirit Macallan that you love or hate. It may be the fact that you're drinking a sherried Scotch as opposed to a different kind of Scotch. So just keep that in mind. If you really love Macallan, there are a lot of other sherried Scotches you should probably try. Balvenie Doublewood, Balvenie Signature, Highland Park, Aberlour, just to name a few. Alright, so let's give this a try. Another problem with Macallan, by the way, you will see that because it has such a good reputation, everyone has heard or thinks they're supposed to think that Macallan is a good Scotch, and so no one wants to tell you what you already know, because then they'll look like they're just giving you what's common knowledge. So most smart people will try to give you, a different view. Hence, I think a lot of reviewers are down on Macallan, simply not wanting to tell you what you've already been told. I'm going to see what I think. Try to be objective, which of course is impossible. But here we go, trying anyway. Ooh, wow. Take the cork off a Macallan bottle and smell it. You might as well be smelling a wine bottle. The smell is very much wine influenced. Let's put it in a glass, see what happens. Now it is a little softer. There is still very much a wine and fruit sort of a smell, but also a softer, sweeter smell with spices, sort of a vanilla smell, maybe pumpkin pie-like. So, alright, and now the final test. yes, Macallan definitely still has a big fruity taste, a lot of fresh fruit, very tart. Think strawberries, green apples perhaps, and some grape. But this is made a bit longer and more complex by that vanilla taste, sort of a syrupy taste, almost like molasses. So it goes sort of from sharp to smooth, very nice development. Wow, just have to point out yet again how big that sherry wine influence is in this Scotch. It really dominates it. A lot of good things going on here. I don't think Macallan is a perfect Scotch. It perhaps now it's dry, a little dry on the finish, and most people will say that's a good thing, which it is. But it also, to me, has sort of it gets a little too winey, perhaps at the very end, and the aftertaste has sort of that sort of wine, sourish bitterness that you'll sometimes get with wine. Now, this is a small thing. It's a very good Scotch all around. And indeed, I'm going to give it a rating of 8.5. But before I go, I'm going to review another Scotch. This is Macallan 12 years old, sort of the standard expression, although they now have a 10-year-old expression. They also, by the way, now have a completely new line called Macallan Fine Oak, which I sort of think of as Macallan Light. It is Macallan, but it is not 100% aged in sherry casks. It is aged in a combination of sherry casks and bourbon casks and refilled casks. They're doing that because there just isn't enough European oak to continue making the finest sherry casks that are available. Now, they can use American oak sherry casks too, but the problem with American oak sherry casks, the American oak simply doesn't transfer as much of the sherry flavor into the spirit as the European oak does. Even though American oak is used for probably 90% of the Scotch out there, European oak is better in sherry casks. I'm going to review also, in this doubleheader, the Macallan 18-year-old. And yes, this small bit of Macallan 18-year-old came as a free sample with this Macallan 12-year-old, but the only thing I like better than a good Scotch is a good bargain, and getting some Macallan 18-year-old, even a small amount, is a good thing. The bottles of this typically cost about $160 now, so well worth getting it where you can. Alrighty. Can't really tell much from the small bottle opening there. Well, looks like one good dram is all I'm going to get out of this. Okay. Let's see here. Nose. Wow. Well, almost not the same animal at all. Macallan changes a great deal from 12 to 18 years. Instead of tart, this is far more sweet. That vanilla is way to the forefront. Clove and nutmeg and spices, pumpkin pie, very much, very big. Okay, taste. First of all, that the sharp, sort of sourish, big, fresh fruit burst at the beginning is very much blunted. It is very much softer. It takes actually a full 2-3 seconds before you really start to get the full register, the full taste of what's going on here. Wow, and when you do, it's very much worth it. It's vastly more complex and deeper. It's got more vanilla going on, more of that syrupy, far more of that molasses, lower note, rounding out the fruit in the higher note. It sort of creates a very broad taste, and that entire broad taste lasts for several seconds, so really giving you a chance to savor the complexity. Well, yeah, you know, I can see why people pay that amount of money for Macallan 18-year-old. It just very, very sweet, very, very subtle. Absolutely none of that sour or bitter aftertaste. Really, I'm not sure if it's just 6 years in the barrel that's done this. This is one of those cases where I'm not really sure whether you know, 6 more years in the barrel would turn this into this, or if it was engineered differently from the very beginning. My guess is probably a little different, probably more of that, you know, first fill Spanish oak Oloroso sherry cask going on here. Wow, yeah, no, you could chew on that a while. There's a little bit of toffee going on there in addition to the molasses. Really a very big range of things going on there. If you're interested at all in sherry Scotch, I would say, as far as I know, Macallan 18 is about as good as it gets. So have yourself a try of this at some point. And then, if you like it, you can devote yourself to fighting the urge to go out and buy it at the ridiculous prices that Macallan is asking. Okay, for rating, I'm going to give this a 9.2. Yeah, it's really, really good. And I thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I'll see you next time.